Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Winklerverse. I'm Bart Winkler, joined by Ryan Horvat of the BetMGM Network. That's exciting. How you doing, Harvey?
Hey, good to see you, man. We haven't done one of these in a long time. So I was excited when you sent me a text and you were like, hey, you want to do a Super Bowl pod? Because we didn't do one for the Royal Rumble.
No.
And I'm doing all right. BetMGM Network, really exciting stuff. Check us out. BetMGM tonight, 7 to 11 p.m. Eastern tonight. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be a nice guy and probably give out like all 18 props that I really like. I have like 45 right now. I'll give out the 18 props that I have more than $100 on though, because I have some where I bet like 20.
Jeez.
Yeah, I got a lot that I like. Well, I had a good night last night. It should have been better. So had Josh Allen MVP.
I just saw a clip of you getting upset when Joe Burrow won.
Oh yeah. So that sucks. That's what I was about to get to. So I had Josh Allen 11-1 MVP. I had Saquon Offensive Player of the Year, but not at 25-1 because I bet it offshore and it was like 18-1. And I also bet Jahmyr Gibbs there, so wasn't the best hit. But then I had Kevin O'Connell Coach of the Year 25-1. But I had already like spent the Sam Darnold money, man. That was 35-1. I saw people that got better prices. You know, I saw somebody on Twitter claim that there was like 150-1. I never saw that. Somebody had like 55-1. I got 35-1, and I was all excited because when I bet it, everybody's like, "Oh, he's not eligible to win the award." Dude, like, I don't know. I still feel like if Sam Darnold balls out, people are going to vote for Sam Darnold. But I mean, at the end of the day, everybody was right. They were looking for somebody that was coming off an injury. I never thought Joe Burrow was going to win it because he had already won the award. So now he's a two-time winner of Comeback Player of the Year. Problem is there, like if he's on a winning team, he's the MVP of the league. So even J.K. Dobbins finished second over Darnold, though. So that sucked because he was the favorite, at the end of the day there. And also that was 35-1. So I was planning to go to Croatia, and that would have been, some spending money. Still a good night. And now if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, it's going to be an even better season. I bet the Chiefs, like I told you when we did the preview early on in the year, because I'm going to bet them every year until Mahomes either retires or dies, because then you're always going to have a hedging opportunity. But my big bet was the Eagles. And
When?
Because of Fangio and because of I like what they did.
How at the beginning of the year you did Eagles?
Yeah, I got the Eagles. That's what we talked about this already. And I think
but what was your number? What'd you get them?
You called me crazy on it too. I got the Eagles 12-1.
Well, I thought Sirianni sucked, and
14-1.
then I was wrong about that, I guess, because then he shaved his head, and I thought they'd never win again. And
well, so yeah, Sirianni is he was what I was worried about a little bit. I like Kellen Moore, the play caller. Sometimes we'll see if I like Kellen Moore, the head coach. I guess in a couple months. And I love Fangio, and I love their draft. I wanted Cooper DeJean. And he's actually like the weak link in the draft right now. I mean, he's going to be a great player, but Quinyon is awesome. I just knew we had no shot at him. Jalen Carter is a grown man. Nolan Smith has had a sack like every single game in the second half of the season. Like Slay's still good. He's got one more year left in him. And Fangio. Like I knew the defense would take a little bit of time to gel, but now they have. And they're number 3 and run stop win rate. That secondary is one of the best in the league. And I can't wait for this Super Bowl. Everybody was like, oh man, Eagles Chiefs again. I don't know. I'm pretty excited.
Well, the game's going to be like, I'm excited for the game. It's just the buildup. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Especially with the trade deadline. I've talked so little about the actual game this week. Like, not at all.
That's why we're doing this, right?
That's why we're doing this. Now, as far as the game, what I keep saying is I think it's best case for America if this game's a blowout. I think that it's counterintuitive and we'll hate it, but we either need to see the Chiefs get destroyed or the Chiefs win so big that the ref theories don't stay with them. People are like, don't you want to see history? I'm like, I do not care to see history. I see enough history every day of my life. I don't need to see it in football. I think that the Eagles are not going to, I'm ruling out them winning a close game because they can't. because the Chiefs do. They've won the stat 17 games in a row, 8 points or less.
Yeah.
The odds of doing that are 0.1%. So what I think the Eagles need to do is we'll get the ball and we're going to score. Get the football, go down the field. Oh, it's 4th and 4 on your own 42. Go for it. Don't give any points away. Just go, 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 go. Score as much as you can. The most I've ever made on a Super Bowl, not a lot of money, but I was in Vegas, was when the Eagles beat the Patriots because I took Eagles on the alternative line. So the only bet I have out there right now is like a $5 free bet where I took Eagles minus 19.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I am with. I don't know what happens, but if I'm going to bet anything, it's going to be Eagles blowout or Eagles double-digit win. Because the Chiefs, look, there's going to be a lot of people say, oh, I don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. But some point you're going to say that, and then you're going to lose. The Eagles are a better team. It's just that, like, if we didn't have the history, if we just came into this game and this was the first year of the Chiefs and the first year of the Eagles and they didn't have the rematch and they didn't have the 5 out of 6 Super Bowl appearances, I think the Eagles are about a 3.5, 4.5 point favorite.
Whoa. I mean, it's funny that you say that because, see, this is the thing, right? And this is why it's so hard to, like, price these pick'em games against the Chiefs and against Mahomes, because Mahomes just wins these games. Like you said, I mean, these close games, it's not just Mahomes, right? It's the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's why this team's here. That's why they're about to three-peat or trying to three-peat. And it's kind of remarkable. And yeah, I don't want to see history, especially because I bet the Eagles and I bet them again on the money line as well. I think the Eagles are going to win this game, right? But, it's like, it's not only Mahomes, but it's Andy Reid. And then Steve Spagnuolo doesn't get enough credit at the end of the day. He does now. I mean, everybody talks about Spags, right? And, he's obviously, if not the best defensive coordinator all time, he's definitely top 5, I would say, especially if they do three-peat. But, I mean, like, that's the thing about the Chiefs, man, is they're so, like, buttoned up. 1 week, it's a blocked extra point or a blocked field goal to win a game. They're just so clutch. Like, they make me believe in the clutch gene, right? Yeah. Like, because, like, Chris Jones has never even had a sack in the Super Bowl, but, like, all he does is make plays in the postseason. Travis Kelce is breaking Jerry Rice's receiving records. And, Travis Kelce, this stage of his career, he could barely move out there, but he's still, like, especially if he plays zone defense, finds a way to get open and does his thing. So it's just insane, man. But that's why, everybody's going to pick the Chiefs, and I get it. And it's not a guarantee. I won't be shocked if the Chiefs win this game. I thought the 49ers would win last year, but the problem for the 49ers was the interior of their offensive line. Brock Purdy was under pressure on like 40% of his dropbacks. Philadelphia has the best offensive line in the league, right? And Cam Jurgens, I know that they're a little bit dinged up right now, but that was my concern coming into the season. How do you replace Jason Kelce? Well, they did. And they still have the best, if not the best, like right there with Detroit. I think they're the best offensive line in all of football. And then you have Jalen. And some people are down on Jalen. Jalen's not even 100% healthy. I guarantee a week or two after the season, he's probably having a cleanup procedure. Saquon Barkley, yeah. I love that pickup. That's why I bet them. And, everybody out there, and I've been guilty of this too, right? Like even with Green Bay, I was like, Josh Jacobs is coming off, one of his worst seasons as a pro, not factoring in how bad that offensive line was for the Raiders. I was like, I'd rather spend money next year on like a T. Higgins at the wide receiver position for Jordan Love than get a running back. But with Saquon, I was like, no, this is the right move. With Derrick Henry, I was like, this is the right move. But you need a good running game, especially in the postseason. That's why Philadelphia is here, and that's why I kind of lean them over Kansas City. But it's so scary betting against Mahomes. But right now, that Kansas City run game, they just can't get it going. Pacheco, since he came back week 13, week 14, whenever it was, just hasn't looked like himself. Kareem Hunt's had some nice games, but, he doesn't really have that same burst. So they don't have that, they can't really hit you with the explosives in the run game. So that's why even last week against the Bills, Mahomes' pass rate was 10% above expectation. They're going to have to throw the ball, and it's tough to do that against this Philadelphia pass rush, with Nolan Smith coming on. And that's been the issue for Kansas City this season. That's why they weren't blowing teams out. Mahomes is still awesome, even though his numbers weren't awesome this year.
Yeah.
The skill position players are fine. Hollywood Brown just didn't play until week 14, week 15. Travis Kelce is getting a little bit older. The run game struggles. And the problem for them and why I like the Eagles, their offensive line. They've had an issue all season at tackle. Mahomes has been under constant pressure. And that's why Andy Reid's gotten really creative in both of these playoff games, right? Like, I thought Mahomes was going to drop back 40-plus times last week, and he didn't. Instead, he was using his legs.
Turning to Michael Vick.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's so hard to bet against the Chiefs. But I'm going to do it because on paper, other than the quarterback position, I think Philadelphia is better. The Chiefs play a ton of man. It's tough to do that because you can't play man against A.J. Brown. Spags is going to throw some zone out there. Devontae Smith's had at least 90 receiving yards all 3 games against the Chiefs and 2+ explosive plays, I believe, in all 3 games as well. So I took his receiving yards over 52.5. I love Devontae Smith in this game. Took his anytime touchdown. He's trying to be the 5th player ever, by the way, to win like a Heisman National Championship and Super Bowl. There's a little narrative for you. Ooh. If Jalen Hurts makes those sideline throws like the one that he had to Devontae, because that's where I worry about Jalen. Like, is he going to be able to stretch use the whole field here? But yeah, man, I like Philadelphia in this game. Other than the quarterback position, I think they're the better team.
Well, you're right. I mean, again, I think they are the better team. And I think that a lot of people would look at this game and pick the Eagles, but they'd rather lose money and say, well, I didn't see this coming, than lose money and be like, oh, I tried to bet against Mahomes.
Yeah.
If you want to make money or I think the play is Philadelphia. The Saquon thing, the last time these two were in a Super Bowl 2 years ago, Chiefs won by 3. Jalen Hurts was the leading rusher with 70 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. He had to do it all.
He was awesome. It was his best game maybe ever.
Yeah, he should have been MVP. They had to do it in the passing game as well. But then after Hurts, they had like 40 more yards rushing from Boston Scott and Kenneth Gainwell. Like, now take the way they approached the Super Bowl 2 years ago and add Saquon Barkley. Each week I'm like, he can't do it. Like, I see the props are like a touchdown and a half. And it's like, he can't do this. But then his first carry against the Commanders, he rips off a 50-yarder. And then his second carry, he's back in the end zone again. So when it comes to how the game is going to go, if we both think Eagles, we're both going to think props along the line of the Eagles. But then do we look at it as an Eagles double-digit win, which I think is the only way for them to win? Do we think the Chiefs get theirs? Some of the guys that I've liked in terms of looking at props so far and building my lineups, Devontae Smith, I'm with you. I like Dallas Goedert to be involved. From the Chiefs side, I don't know. It seems like Xavier Worthy is like their main target, but then it's probably like between Brown and Hopkins and Noah Gray and Justin Watson, like one of those guys is scoring, I fear. So I don't know who, or Juju Smith-Schuster. So where are you at with some of the props that you like?
Yeah. So, all right, I'll just give them all out. Why not? I like Hollywood Brown in this game, actually. I bet him over 40.5 receiving yards.
Well, so first of all, I'm trying to think between him and DeAndre Hopkins, because Hopkins, I feel like there's storyline, like he's really pumped, but then he disappeared in that last game. Brown, when he's come back, has been targeted a bunch, so I just don't want to take the wrong guy there.
All right, so I'm glad that you brought that up too, man, because I also bet DeAndre Hopkins over. It's 1.5 reception and it's plus 129. And I also bet him to score a touchdown because it was plus 625. But I feel like that's more just me saying, hey, this number's too low. If let's say like what you said, right? Like if the Eagles are up by multiple scores in this game, the thing that scares me there is if they are, it's probably because they're eating clock. Like that's how I think Philadelphia wins this game, right? Is they don't face any 3rd and longs. I don't want Jalen Hurts on known passing downs, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 11, patting the ball, because that's when he holds on to the ball a little bit too long. I want every 3rd down to be 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, where you have that option where I know Jalen's not fully healthy, but he could use his legs, or it's a run to Saquon. You know what I mean? Or it's a quick throw to A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. So that scares me a little bit, but let's say that it's a negative game script for Kansas City. I think some of these numbers are just too soft. The thing is, So last week, I played the over 1.5 on Noah Gray, thinking they're going to come out in a bunch of 12 personnel against Buffalo. But they didn't. They did a bunch of 11 personnel. So 3 wide receiver sets. And that's why Juju Smith-Schuster went off in that game. His receiving yards were only 5.5. It's hard to price, Kansas City because you never know who it's going to be. But I'm with you on D-Hop. I'm playing those numbers because they're too soft. And I just have this narrative in my head that Andy Reid, extra week to prep, you're going to look to get him going if you're running these 3 receiver sets. The only problem is he only ran like 12 routes last week. He got out-snapped by Juju. So is he
what if they go back to 2 tight end? What if it's like a Noah Gray game?
And that's the thing, right? Do they come out in 2 tight ends? Now, Philadelphia has been pretty good against the tight end position, but I'm wondering if they do that because Vic Fangio right now wants to keep Cooper DeJean on that field. But if you come out with the heavier sets, he might struggle, man, right? Like if you come out in the wide receiver sets, you could keep Cooper DeJean on the field all day long. But yeah, so I could see it going either way. It's Andy Reid. You never really know what to expect. I'm going with they run more 3 wide receiver sets. I could totally be wrong here. So I bet the under 1.5 reception on Noah Gray. I think I took under 14.5 to 12.5 receiving yards a couple different times. I went over on D-Hop 1.5 reception, thinking it's DeAndre Hopkins. But I think the smartest bet, if I'm looking at it, would be Hollywood Brown, either over 40 receiving yards or over 18.5 on the longest reception, right? Because right now he's only got 1 reception of 19 yards or more since he came back from injury. It was 20 yards in his first game back, week 16. But the Chiefs keep trying to take these deep shots down the field to him. And he's like MVS. And remember when MVS went off in that Super Bowl last year?
Yeah.
That could be Hollywood Brown, man. So he has 18.3 air yards per target so far, meaning 42% to 43% about of his targets have been 20 air yards or more. So that's 1 catch, and we cash over 18.5. Problem is there, though, Philadelphia's secondary. Quignon, Slay, Cooper DeJean, the safeties there, Reed. They don't really give up the big play. So I'm just going to go over 40 receiving yards. They've been running more crossers. They've been trying to get him the ball. And also, I got another narrative. Hollywood Brown, the reason I like that pickup, it was a 1-year prove-it deal. So remember when OBJ was balling out in that Super Bowl before he unfortunately died? He had a touchdown. He already had went almost over his receiving yards. I feel like Hollywood Brown is going to want to show out to try to get a big contract next year. Narrative, and I just kind of like the matchup, especially if Kansas City has to throw the football. And I worry, are they going to be able to run the ball against this, against this Eagles front? They're number 3 in run stop win rate, which is my favorite nerd stat because that means they're getting to the ball carrier right away. And, if it's Derrick Henry or a bigger back, you could break those tackles, but you're not getting past Jalen Carter, dude. You know what I mean? Also, really quick on that, I got a couple props I like. Isaiah Pacheco, since he's come back, has looked like you and I out there trying to hit these holes. I feel like with another extra week, man, and I know I've said this a couple weeks in a row now, Pacheco's rushing numbers are too low. I like him over 20 rushing yards in the game. I like him over 5.5 rushing attempts. And I like Kareem Hunt under 44.5 rushing yards. And I like Kareem Hunt under 8.5 to 9.5 rushing yards in the first quarter. Thinking Philadelphia gets ball first, like you said.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of clock. How much time of possession does Kansas City even have in the first quarter? And Pacheco's been starting these games. My hope is Pacheco finally gets it going, has a couple nice runs. They're going to have to get some run game going, right? So I like Pacheco over 20. I like Kareem Hunt under. And then as soon as we get to Super Bowl Sunday and everybody bets Kelsey's numbers up, I'm coming in on the under. He could easily burn me, but right now, dude, he looks old, right? I know he's Travis Kelce, but Philadelphia's defense is legit, man. So those are a couple I got. And then
what about from the Eagles side? You like Devontae, you said.
I love Devontae. So I got Pacheco first Chiefs touchdown, not first touchdown in the game, just first Chiefs touchdown plus 900. Hollywood Brown over 40 receiving yards. I got Eagles to win the time of possession minus 140. I love that. I got Kareem Hunt under on the rushing yards, Noah Gray under on the receptions, D-Hop anytime touchdown, D-Hop over 1.5 reception, which is plus 126 or was. Pacheco over on the rushing yards. Jalen Hurts, MVP plus 370. I know the narrative, Saquon didn't get the MVP, got Offensive Player of the Year. It's his birthday. But like we're pricing the quarterback almost 4-1 of the team that I think is going to win. And Jalen had his best game of his career 2 years ago against this Chiefs defense. I thought the Chiefs defense was better 2 years ago, right? So I like that MVP number. Under on the rushing yards on Hunt. And then, for the Eagles, I really like Devontae. And then I like Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown -115. I don't hate Saquon -190, but I mean, that's 200.
What do you think? What do you think with Barkley? Like, is he gonna? What is the over under on him? Because I feel like him over is gonna be so popular all over the place.
All right, I'm glad you went there. So I got a couple different ways I'm gonna play him. Also, you brought up Goddard, and I'm totally with you. So this is one where, it's like you're going against everybody in the world is like, oh man, the Chiefs can't defend the tight end position. Goddard's gonna eat. But like we all know that. You know that everybody sitting on their couch knows that or doing these podcasts. Don't you think Spags might I don't know, throw a curveball or something? I feel like if Goddard's receiving number goes up anymore, and I know somebody already came in on the under, I might have to bet his unders, man. But as far as Saquon, I've heard people give out and talk about the under on the longest rush, which is like 24.5, 25.5. I get the thinking. Kansas City doesn't give up explosive plays, but like you said, dude, and I know that was against the Commanders' run D. You saw him take that pitch to the house right away, right? Yeah. I don't want to bet against Saquon Barkley in the rushing props. I got a little Super Bowl trivia for you, though. Name me the last 100-yard rusher in a Super Bowl.
I don't know, James White.
No. Remember, he had like 11 receptions.
Oh yeah.
It was Damian Williams for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Niners in 2020. 17 attempts for 100 yards. So, I know a lot of people are going to probably bet the under maybe if they're trying to be contrarian, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And what's funny is Kansas City, man, their run defense was like, number 2 in the league, I think, against opposing running backs in the regular season. But these 2 games in the playoffs, they've been a little shaky. I think they're giving up like 4 yards per carry. I actually thought Buffalo went away from James Cook. I mean, I love Josh Allen. He's the MVP of the league. So I get wanting to keep the ball in his hands. But I would have pounded the rock against the Chiefs. Same thing with the Ravens last year. So I like the over, if anything, on Saquon rushing yards. But I'll tell you what, I kind of like the under. If I was going to do any unders on Saquon and you want to fade the public, I bet a lot of people think over 1.5 reception is a good bet. I kind of like the under. I was talking about this on the show last night. They don't really use Saquon in the pass game whatsoever. And Kansas City has been really good against opposing running backs. So if I was going to do anything, I'd probably go under 1.5 reception. It's right now you could get plus 150. 28 running backs have run at least 250 routes this season if you include the playoffs. Barkley has a 13% target rate, which is the third lowest, meaning they don't really target him. That's why they play Kenneth Gainwell on third downs, and he was a full participant in practice yesterday, so he's going to play in this game. And I like Will Shipley, man, out of Clemson. He made some plays last week. But the only running backs lower than Barkley are Jonathan Taylor, who, as we all know, doesn't really catch passes, and Kyron Williams. And then the Chiefs only gave up 61 receptions, 7th fewest in the NFL. So if you do anything with unders on Barkley, I'd go under on the catches, but over on the yards for sure. Oh, I can't hear you.
Do you want to help me set a DraftKings lineup?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, because I'm trying to set one based on the things that you are saying. And I either have to leave out Saquon or Mahomes.
Hey, I will help you with this, but I see Jake in the chat. I do want to talk a little bit about the WrestleMania card, and I want to give my thoughts on the Royal Rumble because I had to watch it on delay. Me and Nate and my wife went to the Capitals game because we went and watched Ovechkin score a goal. We're on Ovechkin watch over here. And so we had to watch it at I let him stay up until 2 a.m. And then I was texting you. That's why I was texting you that late. I thought what happened there, well, we'll talk about it here in a second. Let's set the lineup.
Yeah, so I need to figure out who my captain is going to be. If you think Hurts is going to be the MVP, I think at the captain position, you get 1.5 of the points, but then you have to pay up that salary. And I think that it's probably going to be Hurts or Saquon that have the biggest game. Or I could put Pacheco in there or Devontae Smith because I want to play both quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And I want to play Saquon, but then if I do Pacheco at the captain, Devontae Smith, Barkley, Hurts, Mahomes, I only have enough money for Will Shipley, Smith-Schuster, Dotson, or Pirine. Or Justin Watson, I could
Nah. I mean, I would use Schuster. I would use Juju.
So this would be a lineup without A.J. Brown and without Travis Kelce and without Xavier Worthy.
So
I'm cool. Dallas Goedert and without Hollywood Brown. Pacheco in the captain, Devontae Smith, Barkley, Hurts, Mahomes, and then a salary burn on Smith-Schuster.
I feel like, man, the only thing that scares me, and I know I just talked up Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown is so freaking good, right? Like, would you be shocked if A.J. Brown has, and he finally came alive next week. He finally came alive in the NFC Championship game. Think about that, though. It was against the Commanders, dude, in the corpse of Marshawn Lattimore, you know? So
if I take out Smith, I can put A.J. Brown. And then if we go crazy on an anytime touchdown, you know who I like for an anytime touchdown if he plays is Carson Steele.
No, don't do it. I've been doing it all year. Like, has he got in the end zone all year?
I don't know, but I like him to score like how Will Shipley did last week.
No, don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that at all.
Well, I only have $200 left if I do this.
So hold on.
Brown.
200. You could get
nobody. Paris Campbell.
Keep going.
Oh, you know who I could get? Is Sky Moore playing? Sky Moore.
No.
Is he playing?
No, he's on the IR, isn't he?
Yeah, they might bring him back.
They can bring, even if they do it, Sky Moore. No.
What about Peyton Hendershot? He gets snaps.
Where's Dotson? How much is Dotson? Dotson ran like 32 freaking routes again last week, and he didn't even get a target.
Dotson, I could get in there, and then I could put Devontae Smith maybe as the captain.
My ADD is killed. Let's reset the lineup real quick.
All right.
Let's be realistic here. Go up.
Who do we have to have? Who is going to score a lot of points this weekend? Who has to be in a lineup?
What if you left Saquon out? Hold on. Let me just see what you could do here.
If I left Saquon out, I put Jalen Hurts as the MVP. Okay.
Yeah.
Mahomes.
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown. No.
I wouldn't go any Chiefs receiver just because you never know. You know what I mean?
Pacheco.
The Eagles have 3 guys that actually get targets: Goddard, Brown, and Devontae. So let's go Devontae. He's cheaper, right? Obviously.
Devontae's cheaper, and then I could go. Well,
leave Pacheco out for a second. I know I just got done jocking him. Go up. Why am I seeing Kenny Pickett on this?
Because he's the backup. All backups are $6K.
Go up, though.
That's Worthy, Kelce, Hunt, Brown, Barkley.
Go. All right, yeah, you're right. Put Barkley in there now.
So now we have $2,500. We have $5,000 on shit guys.
All right, hold on though.
Do you like any of the defenses that have a big game, like a touchdown or something?
No. I actually bet under 1.5 interceptions for the entire game, and it's my favorite bet. And I bet -140. Mahomes ain't throwing a pick in this game.
Here, Gainwell and Dotson, your boys.
You know what? I kind of like this, dude. I think Gainwell will get used in the pass game.
So this is all Eagles except for Mahomes.
You
got to play Mahomes, right?
Yeah, you got to play. Yeah. You got to play. Right. You got to play Mahomes.
We'll table that for now.
Yeah, roll with that. Actually, I like this lineup. I'll play
Gainwell and Dotson. You want me to roll with 2 shit guys?
Yeah. That's the thing.
All right. Look. I'm throwing 13 lineups into this thing, so this can be my lottery throw.
You got Jalen, who I think is at least going to score a touchdown. You got Mahomes.
And then I got 4 Eagles, including 2 scrubs.
You got Devontae. Gainwell's going to play, and he's they still use him. I was getting pissed off. He was getting carries last week. or 2 weeks ago. And then, Dotson, that's the problem.
Or instead of Dotson, I could do Samaje Perine.
Perine, man. Yeah, go with both third down running backs to catch some balls. Because Dotson, like I said, man, his reception prop is 1/2. Dotson just needs one catch, minus 135.
All right. Perine, we're going third down backs, baby.
I like that.
All right, love it.
I do like that.
I told you about my experience with the Rumble where my kid kept wanting Jey Uso to win. And I said, he's not going to win, dude. And he's like, if he does not win, I will be very mad. And I was like having to break his heart. And then Jey Uso won, which was exciting. But now the IWC, the Internet Wrestling Community, is very upset about it. The Rock's not going to be in WrestleMania, which throws a wrench into plans because they were building that up. And then he came back on the Netflix Raw and was like, Cody, say hi to your mom for me.
Yeah.
Say hi to your mother for me, all right?
Yeah.
So that sucked. So as far as the card, I mean, Jay's going to talk to Cody tonight. I think he's got to fight Gunther. And then wouldn't it make more sense, though? What would make more sense? To give the fans their Jey Uso moment or to really establish Gunther as a dominant heel by beating Jay?
Yeah. So, all right.
I think Gunther needs to beat Jay.
So he's my favorite wrestler. I actually, I have his T-shirt because we go to the events. We went to SummerSlam. We're actually going to SmackDown coming up on February 14th at Capital One in DC. So took the day off for that. Excited. But I like, I'm with you, man. Like Gunther.
You're going to Capital One the next Friday to watch Chris Middleton versus the Bucks?
Dude, how about that, man? I might run into him. I said big day for Gary Wolfel and for Ram on the north side, man, right? Like Ram's been asking for Middleton to get traded since he was averaging 24 a game. Wolfel was the first guy I saw that it was going to be Kuzma in return. By the way, really quick on that, dude, like I get it, but like, are you beating Boston with Kyle Kuzma?
No.
And Dame? No. And this is where, like, is a Cubs fan, hate to bring it up. Everybody was like, Rizzo sucks. He's getting older. Bryant sucks. Baez sucks. You want to just win 88 games every year and finish in second in the Central? And I was like, well, yeah, kind of. Because, like, what's the alternative? You suck without all my favorite players? I was almost there with, like, Middleton and the Bucks. Like, yeah, I know it's about over for Chris, but which sucks because of injuries. But I don't know, man. I mean, for Kuz, I just we'll see. It's like every year, it's like you kind of got to go in for Giannis and at least field the best team. But I hate Jimmy Butler. I hate his guts. As you know, my take is he'll never be the best player on a championship team. And now at 35, I feel pretty comfortable.
Well, talking about getting rewarded for bad behavior. My goodness.
Yeah, and he's a real Richard. But like the thing is, I would rather have Jimmy Butler than Kyle Kuzma. Or Kevin Durant would have moved the needle. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to go out and get somebody, I would rather have like one of those.
And then Kuzma's like, hey, Bucks Nation, and he spelled it B-U-C-S.
I got to be honest. I'm just so pissed off at the Dallas Mavericks, man. Like, if you're going to trade Luka, make him available for everybody. So, like, you know what I mean?
And then at least get the full package of picks. And Dalton Connect so that the Lakers can't use those assets to get a big man.
Yeah, I like that pickup, especially because Luke is just going to throw him alley-oops. So I'm going to be playing his points, which I've already been doing in Charlotte over every single night. But, yeah, that one kind of pissed me off a little bit. Like, obviously, John Horst is going to be like, suck it if you call him and say, we want Giannis. But, I mean, if it's Luka for Giannis, at least it's, like, not the craziest discussion ever, right? And I'm not just throwing Giannis out there. I mean, I would be calling everybody. I'd call OKC. Hey, you want to do Shea? Everybody. I mean, it's not a crazy conversation.
Pelinka had to be like, he had to be like, what is happening? Why am I able to talk this guy down and he's not calling anyone else? This is nuts.
Yeah. But anyway, I just feel like everybody's just making all these deals just to lose to Boston in 6 anyway. Like, prove me wrong. And I know this isn't a Celtics show and I don't like Boston either, but I just feel like they're going to be a tough team to beat because Drew Holiday in the playoffs. Derek, the thing is with the Spurs, man, imagine that team now with Fox and Wemby and Derek White. Derek White is awesome. Peyton Pritchard's going to win 6th Man of the Year. Al Horford's old as hell, but he's still out there doing some stuff every once in a while. Jaylen Brown, I love Jaylen Brown. I don't care. He gets better every year too. Jason Tatum is soft, but he's still a hell of a player once every 3 games in the playoffs. Porzingis, nightmare matchup, even though I think he's soft. But yeah, so Boston's going to be tough to beat. Don't really care about that. Back to the Rumble really quick. Same situation here. My son loves Jey Uso. When we went to SummerSlam, he was just yeeting. He's got the Jey Uso shirt and goggles and everything going on. My brother was actually like, hey, I don't want to be rude, but when Jey Uso gets eliminated in the Rumble, can you send me Nate's reaction? And instead, he ends up winning it. And here's where it's crazy, though. So I don't hate it. Like, I like to see guys get rewarded for their hard work. Problem is, man, we just saw Jey Uso against Gunther. So I thought originally the way they were going to set it up was we were going to get like, not like the double heel turn, but so Cody, the way that he beat the living hell out of Kevin Owens in like massacre style didn't really remind me of like a face. No. And, you know, Kevin Owens is like the heel that you can make the case for, right? Like now, not so much like killing Sami Zayn, but before that, right, you can make the case that he's actually kind of the good guy. Like Seth, like the bloodline was screwing people over for 2 years, and now everybody just wants to go team up with these guys. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And the lasting image is Owens is like dead, which shout out to Kevin Owens, one of the all-time performers, by the way, of our generation, in my opinion. And Cody's celebrating over him. So I'm like, oh my God, did they just turn Cody into like the dude from The Boys? You know, did they make him the bad guy and Jey Uso's the good guy? Right? But no, it's going to be the same story that we've seen. And so I'm with you. I want to see Gunther beat Jey Uso. And here's where I know I'm getting old, right? I used to hate John Cena. My little brother loves Cena. I'm Attitude Era guy, so I was Stone Cold, The Rock. But I like the heels, right? I liked Orton when he was RKOing Stacy Keibler and kicking Stephanie McMahon in the head. I like that kind of stuff. That's bad examples, right? We don't beat up. We don't condone violence to women. I like the heels, though. And so I used to.
Unless it's like Triple H fighting Ronda Rousey.
Like remember my favorite pay-per-view match of all time remains this one. It was the ECW pay-per-view when they brought
China versus Jericho?
No. Jeff Jarrett against China when he was hitting her with the freaking guitar over the head. It was RVD. Uh-oh, did I lose
no, I'm here.
So Cena fought RVD, and the best part is like Cena takes off his shirt to throw it in the crowd, and they throw it back at him, and they're chanting F you, Cena, and Rob Van Dam beats him. But I used to cheer for anybody that was fighting against Cena. Now I'm old, and I want to see him break Ric Flair's record. So when it was him and Uso in the final 2, I wanted Cena, man, with his ball.
Yeah, I'm on Cena. I'm mad at him. He's like, I'm going to do every house show, and then he's like, well, off to Budapest, first round bye to the Elimination Chamber.
Did he, it seemed like it was like a heel promo. You can't turn Cena heel, though, on his way out, in my opinion. So, yeah, I wanted him to win. I don't think he wins the Elimination Chamber, to be honest.
Who fights Cody?
Is it going to be?
Well, it looks like they're setting up a Punk Reigns Rollins triumvirate or a Reigns versus Rollins match, which I want that to be it doesn't need the title, but I want that to be for the title.
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't know where they're going to go. That's a really good question.
If Jay faces, like if they could play more into like, I saw what you did to Kevin, man, that was a little messed up. Or have Sammy come out there and be like, dude, you went a little hard on Kevin, and then Jay come out and then Jay get fired up. Yeah, I want to see Jay beat Cody rather than I would Gunther beat Jay. I think you have to reward Jay with a strap, but I don't think he should beat Gunther. I think you get more long-term out of Gunther beating Jay.
Yeah. I think you got to go Gunther over Jay because like I didn't even like when Sami Zayn beat him, man. You got to make him this dominant heel. So I feel like he shouldn't lose yet, and he just won it at SummerSlam. So And where do you go with him if he loses to Jay? Remember when like Rusev was dominant and then they had.
Where are they going with Solo since he lost every match he's ever fought except the one against Cena?
I have no idea. That's the thing. And now what are they going to do with him? Because he's already lost to Reigns. His guys are going to turn. And so now you can't really do anything with him. He's almost like a joke at this point. So that's a good question. I have no idea what they do with him. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I guess maybe Cena. So Cena wins and he faces Cody, and is that why is Cena the bad guy, or we just don't have a bad guy?
I don't know. I mean, I would like to
That's
see
why I
Punk
think you
face
got to go.
Cody
I
at
think
some
you got to
point.
go Jay. I think they end up swerving and they go Jay Uso against Cody as a bad guy, and they do it like when Kofi Kingston reversed the role against Daniel Bryan. Remember? And Daniel Bryan was the bad guy with the paper championship, and Kofi was the good guy to complete his story. Right? What if they go Cody versus Jay Uso? And then they go Gunther against Cena. I feel that makes way more sense. You get the classic Cena.
And I want Cena.
Cena Rocky, Gunther Drago.
Cena loses. Cena needs to lose, though, and then get him in chase mode all summer and then give him the dub at SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm. Cena's the greatest of all time, dude. He puts everybody over now that he's back. Back in the day, he got so much better in the ring, right? Like he had some awesome, the AJ Styles matches, the early Kevin Owens when he first got called up matches, the RVD match, big game performers. They would be MFing them, chanting "You suck." That's tough to do, man. Like, I mean, I know it's wrestling and that's their job, but still, like when you're trying to play the good guy,
like Charlotte last week was like, "I'm hurt," and everyone's like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Yeah. Like if you're the bad guy, like Dom Mysterio, and they're booing the fuck out of you, like that's an art form right there. But if you're the good guy and you're trying to get over, and they're like, "This guy sucks," like that's tough right there. So I think Cena's the GOAT. I would love to see him break the record personally, but I just feel like he's so unselfish that he's going to want to put somebody else over that he won't end up doing so. But I would love, and he makes wishes. He's made more wishes than anybody. I think he's just like a good dude. Guy's all about the
Punk
grind.
Fight.
Who?
Who's Punk fight? Right, Reigns and Rollins?
Yeah, I guess that's just the triple threat, and I guess they'll say that it doesn't need a belt, but
Punk should be like, I want the Ulafala.
I mean, the whole thing is F now.
Because remember how Punk took over Nexus?
Oh yeah,
he should try to take over the Bloodline, like how he took over Nexus.
Yeah, I wanted to see.
I'm afraid I got some bad news for you.
The Rock screwed everybody up.
Yeah, The Rock should be fighting Reigns.
Yeah.
Or Cody.
That's what I'm saying. It should either be The Rock or Reigns or The Rock and Cody. I think that's where the money was, though, man. And they set the whole thing up. Why did he come out and do why did he do that then? And then he just comes back and he's just trying to sell his movie. They got, if The Rock's going to come back and be this, middle-aged, he's going through, his midlife crisis, where he's the good guy and then he's the bad guy and then he's, promoting his Disney movie. He's just got to stay away because there's he's killing kayfabe over here, man. What the fuck? Are we watching are we watching Dwayne or are we watching The Rock? I was jacked for the Netflix, the first episode, because I was like, okay, we're finally going to pay off on this storyline because I thought there was so much there, right?
Yeah, I let my kid stay up for it. There wasn't any wrestling for 40 minutes. He had to go to bed and he was crying.
I was torn. I was like, okay, so either The Rock's back and he's coming for Roman, and he is the leader of this new bloodline, Jacob Fatu and all those weirdos, right? Or he's coming back for Cody. And I what did he put in Cody's pocket? What the fuck did he put in Cody's pocket? Yeah. We're talking about this. What did he put in his pocket?
It's like when the anonymous GM was Hornswoggle. It's like they got to do better payoff.
They never really paid off on GTV back in the Attitude Era. Remember? They would have a camera and somebody would be in the urinal and shit. By the way, you know what does not age well, but it's hilarious, obviously? You ever go back and watch some, not the pay-per-views, but Monday Night Raw from the 90s, from the Attitude Era?
No, but I should.
Just the weirdest collection of shit. And if you watch and you read the Vince McMahon stuff, you're like, oh. He was just
living out his fantasies.
His gross fantasies, through these, through these episodes. It was crazy.
Mae Young gave birth to a hand.
I talked about this on the show last night because, I was telling my producer's 24 and never got into wrestling. And he was I was telling him about the Attitude Era. And I was like, yeah, Mae Young was banging the world's strongest man, Mark Henry. And then they gave birth to a hand. And he was like, yeah, I think I'll just stick with real sports.
Well, it made sense at the time. All right. Well, we got the Eagles, I guess.
Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly.
EGELEAS.
Yeah. Hopefully you hit some of those props if anybody tails. I really do like me some Isaiah Pacheco, so he'll probably have like 2 carries for 3 yards. And I like some Hollywood Brown. And I love Devontae.
Well, I love some Samaje Perine, baby.
Well, he is going to get the targets, man. You know, he's going to have at least 12 receiving yards, I'd assume.
Horvat, always a pleasure.
Thanks, dude.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for stopping into the Winklerverse.
Go Birds.